In studio with me right now, president of American Bank of Commerce. So you can log on to their website at theabcbank.com. James Arnold back with us. James, welcome back. How are you?
Good morning, Chad. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, and hope how was the year at ABC Bank?
You know what? Record year at the bank. We really are ending 2016 on a high note, both in asset quality, loans, deposits, you name it. And we're excited about what 2017 is going to bring. Very
good. Well, glad to have you back here on the show. And let's talk about 2016 as far as the local and local economy. How does everything look like it's ending for Lubbock?
Well, I think 2016 is going to go down in the books for Lubbock as a record year across all fronts. It doesn't take someone very smart to drive around town and just see all the construction projects going on the West Loop, the South Loop, all the new homes being constructed in South Lubbock and West Lubbock. But when you look at the numbers, it validates those visuals that you see. Construction permits are up about 20% year over year. Last year was one of the best years we'd ever had on the book. So to do 20% better than last year really validates that this is a great year for Lubbock.
What's driving that? Construction permits, what's driving that? Because there were some who were maybe expecting, I don't know if slowdown's the right word, but when you look at what happened in Midland with the oil and how that had driven some of the growth. What drove it this year?
Well, Texas Tech's number one. I mean, we talked about this just about every time we come together and talk. Texas Tech's a huge driver of our economy. Our cotton crop really came in better than expected. Maybe not the best year we've had, but certainly among the top 15, top 10. Really solid crop. We didn't know that it was going to, in the middle of the summer, we didn't know if it was going to turn out that good. We had a good, dry, hot September and October that really allowed that crop to mature. So that's big. And then Covenant, UMC, and Grace Clinic, they continue to expand. So those three drivers of our economy are doing very well right now.
Yeah, just bringing in more jobs, and people need to fill those jobs.
They do, and people have jobs, so they feel comfortable about their jobs. So they'll go out and spend some more. Maybe they might stretch here and buy a car, and they may do some things in terms of housing. We've been in a low interest rate environment for probably 15 years now, at least 12, on this sustained low interest rate environment for mortgages. And so people are now, they're able to buy houses maybe that they couldn't have afforded in the past because the rates are so low at, below 4% on a mortgage.
Yeah. We're talking about the local economy and what we saw. What, as far as different sectors of the economy, was there anything that maybe surprised you as far as how much it grew by or how much growth we saw this year? Was there anything that surprised you?
Here locally?
Yeah.
I just think how the cotton crop kind of almost turned around a little bit. I mean, we had a dry summer. It rained in spots. We didn't have a good blanket moisture coverage this year. But we had some timely rains, and we had a dry September, and we had a dry, hot October. So it allowed people to stay in the field a little bit longer. And I think we'll see that play itself out in 2017.
What's the unemployment rate at now?
It's about 3.5.
How does that compare to last year?
We've hovered around 3.5 to 4, maybe 4.25 for about 4 or 5 years. We're in the top two right now. I think there's Austin's about where we are at 3.5. There may be another. I think Amarillo's about that too. We're the top in terms of unemployment in the state. The state average is about 5, 4.5, 4.8, 5. National average is about 5.25, something like that. So we're fully employed in Lubbock, Texas, and we have been for a while. Amarillo's at about our same level. Midland, Odessa used to be right there with us. They're now down in the 6 area, 6.5, 6.6. So Lubbock's fully employed, which bears itself out in the numbers of our economy.
Do we know how what the percentage is, or what it looks like of people who live outside the city limits who are driving in to the city limits and working here in Lubbock, what that travel looks like?
I don't have any definitive data, but I do know we have a lot of commuters from shallow water. We have a lot of commuters from Brownfield and from different Plainview, a lot from those markets. And so that helps our economy a lot in terms of just dollars spent. You can go to the mall or any retail location and 30% of the license plates are yellow from New Mexico. So We get a big influx because of our medical outreach. Our medical coverage in Lubbock is about the size of the state of Pennsylvania. That's our reach. And so we reach way into eastern New Mexico, way over to Abilene, Amarillo, Midland, Odessa. So those folks come in, they go to the doctor, they eat lunch, they eat dinner, they shop, they spend the night. And so that really helps our economy every year.
Yesterday, some big news from the Fed as interest rates went up.
That's good for our economy. I know a lot of people may be worried about that. My credit card bill is going to be higher. My mortgage may move. If it's not fixed, I'd fix it. But I think it's good for our economy to show a little bit of inflation and some growth, and so that's good. But it was time to hit the rate a little bit. The Feds have been forecasting this all year, and they kept kicking the can down the road. And in my opinion, they were losing some credibility with Wall Street and with the economy about we're gonna hit the rate, we're gonna bump it, and then they kept pushing it. Once they got to the election, everybody knew they weren't going to do anything to do with the rate prior to that. So it was expected. It's built in the market. I think the bond market's kind of in the dumps a little bit today, but that's to be expected. The interesting thing, Chad, is they already told us they're going to hit it another 2 or 3 times next year.
Right.
I don't know that they've ever done that before. Greenspan was famous for not telling you anything. And so it's just been interesting how they're already beginning to forecast what 17 is going to look like.
Well, and I think they had said that for this year they were going to do it 2 or 3 times, and they didn't. Like you said, they kept on kicking that can down the road. Yesterday they finally pulled the trigger. What does that mean to the average consumer, the average person out on the street?
Well, I think what you're going to see if you wanted to buy a car today. Last week, you might have paid 2.9%, 3% interest. You might pay 3.25% today. But in terms of your credit card rate, if it's probably at 19% or 17.5%, something like that, that's not going to move that much. But you're going to see it's going to be more expensive to borrow money. I think you'll see mortgage rates begin to move over the course of 17.
That was one thing we didn't see the last rate hike, right? Right,
we didn't. In fact, the 10-year Treasury went down. So I think you're going to see mortgage rates begin to move north a little bit, but I don't think you'll see anything like what we saw 30 years ago or 20 years ago where it's 8.9, 9.9. My dad, when I bought my first house, my dad said anything below 10 is a bonus because he remembered the years in the 70s when a mortgage was 15, 18%.
Right.
So we've really had it pretty good in the mortgage industry for a long time. And so if anybody's listening has an adjustable rate, I'd try to get it locked as soon as you can because I think it's going to be moving.
What does it mean for the banks in general here locally when the interest rates go up? What does that do for y'all?
Well, it gives banks an opportunity to create a spread between what they pay for deposits and what they charge for loans. Banks are in the business of selling money. We pay for it in deposits and we mark it up and sell it for loans. So it gives banks an opportunity to have a spread. And as many community banks are in Lubbock, they're all very strong, very healthy banks in Lubbock, Texas, which is great for our economy. But it allows those banks to even become better and healthier and to do more things.
For those who have savings accounts, are they going to finally see a little bit of movement there?
You might. I think you may see banks try to lag moving their rates on deposits as long as they can. Banks have been stuck in this low interest rate environment for about a decade. And it's just been a long time for us. And so I think you'll see banks slowly move deposit rates, but they'll move loan rates immediately because it's all tied to the prime rate. And so I think you'll see banks try to hold on to those low deposits as long as they can. When
we come back, we're going to talk more about this topic and also look ahead, bring out the crystal ball, look ahead to the Lubbock economy for 2017 and the West Texas economy, maybe even get to some of the national economic news as well. James Arnold, President, ABC Bank, American Bank of Commerce. Log on to their website, theabcbank.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Chad Hasty Show, News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM KFYO. Talking about the economy and some economic news. President of American Bank of Commerce, ABC Bank, James Arnold in studio. James, we were talking about the interest rate hike that was announced yesterday. They did say, okay, coming up in 2017, we're going to have 2 or 3 more. Is that something that of course, we're predicting here what the Trump administration would want. But is that something the Trump administration would want? Is that something that businesses would want? Is that something banks would like to see?
Well, I think banks would like to see it for sure. I think consumers would like to see it because a lot of depositors and people that, live off interest rates off of CDs would like to see those rates move. So, borrowers would like to see rates stay low, obviously. So there's always going to be that push-pull, that little tension between people that borrow money and people that deposit money. But I think it bodes well for our economy to see growth and expansion, and just a little bit of inflation is really kind of some good tenets of a solid, sound economy. You can see what Japan's done in the last 30 years, having a sustained low interest rate environment, no growth, and nobody talks about Japan anymore. 20 years ago, they were the model economy.
Yeah.
And today it's China, it's India, it's other places. They've been passed by.
So what is that the risk that we run if, let's say, there's only one interest rate hike or no interest rate hikes next year?
Yeah, I think stagflation is kind of the term that people throw around when you have this sustained low interest rate environment, no growth in the economy, no traction to really cause people to say, man, our economy is really getting overheated. We might need to move rates up a little bit to kind of keep it in balance. And that's really what the Fed's trying to do, is keep the economy in balance and not let one side or the other kind of overtake it. And that's what happened in Japan.
Let's look ahead to 2017. You brought up this year, all you have to do is drive around basically the loop and drive around anywhere, and you can see all this growth. Is that something that can be sustained going into next year, you think?
I'm pretty optimistic about where we are as an economy. And, I've been here when it was kind of sluggish and slow, not bad, but not really great either. And everybody always said, hey, once Lubbock hits 200,000 in terms of population, you're going to see a pop, and you're going to see a sustainability on expansion occur. You'll see restaurants that are on a national level come to Lubbock. Well, it happened, and then they came. It did happen. So I think we're going to continue to see Lubbock be a great growth market for companies and businesses, whether that's restaurant, whether that's retail. I continue to see interest in corporations relocating to Lubbock. We have a great infrastructure. We have great city government, city leadership. We have fantastic school systems all around the county, big, small, medium, private, public. We've got a good airport. We've got a national university, a first-class national university. So we've got all the ingredients to really take off and grow, and I think we'll see the 17 continue to do that.
This year we saw, I don't even know how many hotels that went out. I think one of the last times you were here, you were talking about how there were 11 hotels at one time that were either about to start construction, under construction, in the planning phases. And those always seem to be at least half full, if not completely full. So do you think we're going to see continued growth within the hotel market?
I think you'll see it level off. I really do. I think, one of the reasons why the housing market in Lubbock is as strong as it is you've got community builders and community banks working together, managing inventory, managing demand. You don't see a big national D.R. Horton Homes or a Toll Brothers or a Syntex come in here and drop 150 to 200 homes on the market just because they need to do that. Mm-hmm. I think the same thing with hotels. Community banks, very competitive within our industry, but community banks help a market like Lubbock stay within the boundaries and not get too overextended into a particular industry, hospitality and hotels, residential construction, or anything like that. So I think we'll see a leveling off of what we're seeing in terms of hotels.
What do you think the downtown area? I know it's been a big push by this current council and previous councils to redevelop the downtown area. That's starting to happen. You got a new coffee shop that opened up. You've got restaurants that have popped open. Obviously, Rager Dykes has done a lot of work in downtown. What can we maybe see in 2017? Continued growth down there?
I think so. I think, with what Bart Rager's done downtown, we've got a city council that's business-minded and very business intelligent. I think you'll see the city amenable and easy to work with. I don't see the city intermingling with what they want to do to see downtown grow. I think you'll see what we need to have downtown happen is we need heads in beds, whether that's hotels, whether that's apartments, condominiums. There's a lot of activity going on by the old courthouse Someone's bought that out of Houston. They're redeveloping that into some apartment places. If they can get that beginning to fill up with people, I think you'll see more heads and beds, and that then creates restaurant opportunities, bars, nightlife. Yeah. But you got to have people first, and so I think if they can solve that equation, we'll see some growth.
Let's turn to the housing market. Is that going to continue to just boom here in Lubbock in 2017?
I think you'll see us play the hand we've been dealt in terms of housing starts, houses under construction today. I think as mortgage rates continue maybe to creep up a little bit, you may see a little bit of a slowdown. But I think maybe on the higher end homes you might see a little bit of a slowdown. I think in the mean average of about $200,000 for a price in Lubbock for a house, I think that'll continue to be a healthy market.
What is the next area or few areas to boom? We saw it off the West Loop and off of the South Loop this year with restaurants going in, with the West End shopping center just exploding on the West Loop. Where's the next area you think? Is it that Milwaukee corridor that's going to explode? Is it Northwest Lubbock? Where do you think the next areas are?
Oh, if I could predict the future, Chad, I wouldn't be sitting here, but I think you'll see Milwaukee North. There's some great development going on Milwaukee north of the retirement community over there. And so I think you'll see that grow. I think you'll see Milwaukee West grow towards Wolforth. I think Wolforth is poised for some really solid growth that they maybe haven't seen before. You've got Lubbock approaching from the west on 82nd Street. Mm-hmm. You've got a great school district out there, and so that's got all the ingredients to really take off. And so I think you'll see the Wolforth North area kind of merging with that Milwaukee West. I think you'll see some housing development out that direction, and with houses and with heads and beds come other development.
Yeah, it's exciting to see. I mean, this was, I think, a real exciting year for Lubbock, and just a lot of the people who I talk with who are visitors to the city, or people who come in and I had family who came in this year who hadn't come in years, and their response was, for people who hadn't been here in 10 years maybe, this looks completely new. It looks like a totally different city, and it's just continued growth, and I think we're going to see it again.
I think you'll see some things in 2017, Chad, that people are optimistic. I told you earlier, we got a city council and a mayor that's very pro-business and pro-Lubbock. I think you'll see some beautification efforts up and down the interstate. I think you'll see some beautification efforts at the airport, and I think you'll see some around the tech campus.
All right. James Arnold, President, ABC Bank, thank you very much.
Chad, thank you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We'll see you in 2017.